On Monday night, number 3 Houston, they took down Kansas 65-59. The Big 12 regular season champs helped by L.J. Cryer and his 22 points. Not surprisingly, the Cougars defense forcing 20 turnovers. Houston has a few guys in the conference a few guys in the conversation for conference honors. But let's start with Coach Sampson, Big 12 Coach of the Year race. What are your thoughts on Kelvin Sampson being to win that hardware again this year?
I would say that he definitely is probably number one. And no disrespect to this man, because I think he is a phenomenal coach and he's done a tremendous job. But here's the thing, Pete. Everybody expected this from Houston. Everybody expected them to finish top 2 in the conference. But you know who we didn't expect to finish top 2 in the conference? Is Grant McCasland and Texas Tech, those guys over there in Lubbock. We didn't expect them to do what they're doing. So for them to be able to rise to the top the way that they have, I mean, you have to consider Grant McCasland. And in my personal opinion, even though I played for the man, not biased at all, my personal opinion is that Grant McCasland should win Coach of the Year because nobody had those expectations on Texas Tech. They exceeded expectations while Houston met expectations. Major difference.
Yeah, we saw, you and I had a game in Lubbock in December, and Coach McCasland told us right then and there, guard play is going to be huge if we want to make a deep run this season. And the guard play has stepped up, but that's an extension of him on the floor. And even his ability to find Darion Williams to become even more versatile, right? To be able to defer to JT Toppin when he has to Chance McMillan. Those guys are really, really good, and they come at you from so many different ways. But it starts with the education coming from Grant McCasland off the court.
And let's not forget what he did this offseason by going to get a guy like Jeff Linder, and how much that really helps him. I mean, I think that has elevated his coaching to a different level, because one thing that we know is that he's a defensive-minded guy, but he's had to adapt because he hasn't had those level of defensive teams that he had when he was at North Texas. But offensively, with the help of Jeff Linder, Grant McCasland has turned into a guy that runs a lot of good offensive sets, and they're hard to beat because of the way that they spread it, the versatility that they play with, the spacing on the offensive side, to be able to go inside out and have a dude like JT Toppin who can get you a bucket at any moment. I mean, this team has been able to take it to new heights, primarily due to Grant McCasland and his ability to adapt as a coach.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jeff Linder was a head coach, right? And it's not too often you see head coaches take jobs as an assistant, but this obviously was the right fit and it's working out. And you mentioned JT Toppin, a tip of the cap to all the ballers from Dallas, right? King, yourself included. Way to go.
You know I got to show love to my Dallas brethren.
Hey, man, he hadn't made it too hard for you. I mean, the guy is playing out of his mind. I want to give you one quick second. We're short on time right now, but Kevin Young, I know you have feelings about him and the coaching job he's done in Provo.
Yeah, he's definitely an honorable mention in this category, and his name has to be brought up because nobody expected BYU to be as good as they are, and especially how they've been as of late. I mean, early on in the Big 12 play, they were a little up and down, had a few good wins, had a few bad losses, but now the consistency in which they're playing with the confidence that those guys are using or every single time they step on the court, I think that Kevin Young's name has to be mentioned in this category. Don't think he'll win it, but it's definitely, he's probably number 2. You know, 1A, 1B would be Sampson, McCasland, and number 2 would have to be Kevin Young. You have to at least have that conversation, bringing his name up, because he definitely deserves that.